Versus Legion has begun. Legion is attacking, Meta is defending. And let's take a look at this composition, see if it's changed. Legion's got 2 men-at-arms, an archer, van, and 2 knights. That's different a little bit.
It's very different.
Swap that hideout like I thought. They do have those 2 man-at-arms still, because those seem to be those best classes of Prismatic and Jimmy. And on the Legion side, right after this engagement, we'll go over that. Obviously, there's a lot of knights. There's 3 knights I can see on the field. All with swords. That's very cool. No, that's actually the meta side. My bad. I just went through Legion. Goodness gracious. So, meta has 3 knights, 2 vans, and an archer. That is very interesting. Okay, I'm sorry. Height has swapped back to a vanguard. He probably got the idea that that was not a good idea. And we're back to nearly the same setups as last round. Except Meta's got an archer, which is very smart in my opinion for the defenders.
Completely agree. I think it's honestly an archer on this. It's smart either way, but if you don't have an archer who can counter the other archer, you might be better off just sticking somebody who can use a shield at the cart and moving it forward there.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. That's what makes it viable for the attackers, though. For the defenders, like I would definitely say, oh yeah. Well,
either way.
Either way, yeah. The archer. Either way, the archer's impeccable in dealing with the cart in some manner. For attackers, it's a really good way of sticking on the cart as sort of a turret. In the defender way, the defenders can peg the attackers as they're running up after engagements to clean up. But Legion is making insanely good time right now.
Yeah,
8 minutes.
Noticed that. Jeez.
31%. At this progress last round, I believe it was like 5 minutes for Meta.
Yeah, I think something like that. I think they got it in at 4 minutes, 4 seconds. So yeah, they're making incredible time here.
Meta does get off the defense relatively well. They do get a full clear, almost. They are missing 1 man-at-arms. Of course it's Jimmy. Jimmy is a master of being slimy and getting out of the most difficult situations. And he causes Popcorn to get a TK. Oh, that's so fun. That is the funnest thing as a man-at-arms, is to...
It really is.
Yeah, produce those TKs. I so enjoy it.
Prismatic here hanging out at the cave. Can't tell if he's waiting for distraction to maybe flank, or if he's waiting for the whole team to rush.
I
think it looks like he's.
I think that's what he's doing, because it looks like Meta is rock hard in their defense right now. They aren't going to push forward because they know a flank is definitely possible, and they are running their old setup now. Actually, Flame has gone off the archer. Now a vanguard again. 3 knights, 3 vans. And Legion has the current advantage. They're moving that card in. It has stopped for a moment. Meta is not getting any slack out of this engagement, and they are going to go down. And they're going to make the objective at 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Whole 2.5 minutes almost ahead of Meta. Really, really good time.
Great time there.
Absolutely fantastic. Just cleaning up here at the gate. Oh, little TK. Not going to stop Legion. Now, the weapon setup that Legion's using is kind of interesting to me. I think they've got 2 long swords, a sword of war for their knights. Their vanguard has a brandy. Their other vanguard has a claymore, and their archer. They don't have an archer anymore. I'm sorry. No, they do have an archer. Do they have an archer? No. Yes. No. They don't have an archer. I'm sorry. Their man-at-arms, I think, are both using Sword of Wars, probably. Oh, no. Prismatic is using a mace. That was one of the weird things I wanted to say. So Prismatic's using a mace. That's not necessarily weird, but it's interesting. And I'm pretty sure Jimmy is using a...
Norse sword, I think.
Norse? Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
he's
that
using
sounds
Norse.
about right.
So, there's a couple interesting things. What did you see?
No, I was actually just going to say it's both of those weapons. The few times that I've run double man-at-arms. That's actually a loadout we tend to go with Mace and Norse. Just the combo works really, really well for some reason.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, now that I think about it, because having the Norse sword as the slashing and having the mace as the bashing, that's very, very good synergy if you work together to get those pickoffs. However, something that a little bit of an anomaly, the mace, you don't see the flanged mace a whole lot at the higher levels, just because it's kind of, I think it's the third most popular man-at-arms weapon competitively. We got Norse Broad and then the mace, I believe. And not a whole lot of people use it. Looks like Chrismatic, however, is taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, it's his signature weapon. It inspired me to start using it, and yeah, it really does damage. I tend to go with a short sword as my secondary, and if I need to hit a fleshy target, I'll swap to that if I'm using the mace. But if I know I'm facing triple knights, the mace comes out. It does the damage. It's a little mini maul kind of.
Mini maul, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of mauls, another thing I wanted to mention is that all the knights, they're all using swords. Like, that's so interesting to me. I always see at least a maul. Not as many as before, thanks to Mercs and First Did Flinch. But, a maul is always nice with extra damage. But maybe a Grand Mace is a little rare. Pole axes, something of that. Like, all three of the knights using swords is kind of a rarity to me. It's interesting.
I think they know they have to counter the work of Jimmy and Chris. Not to disparage anybody else, or but they're really kind of incredibly problematic in the last round for meta. So I think having A, bladed weapons, and B, kind of fast firing weapons, that's I think going to be the name of the game. I would probably, they've been running kind of triple vanguards, so I think that's the other next logical step is to put more vanguards on it. But I think they're probably rolling with the setup that I think would probably work best to counter what Legion's got right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you're right. They're playing very intelligently, using their loadouts as a weapon. Your loadout is as much a weapon as your team play, your 2v1 ability, all of that. Makes a difference. It would seem that the cart has gotten to 76%. Very, very good distance with 12 minutes, 25 seconds. Legion does get a TK, and Waterboy is making short work of them. It seems that meta is losing like every other engagement, but the engagements they aren't losing, they're doing very, very well in.
Yeah.
Oh, not Legion. Is it Legion? No. It's, well, both teams, actually. I think meta... I think it's more a fact, like, since meta's maybe a little newer, they just need to get their consistency down.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just certain things like, whether or not what side you play first, a lot of that can actually, have some effect and some bearing on everything, I prefer to, to go, have a defensive round first, because that kind of warms me up. Some people do the opposite way, and I don't know. I can't tell if this is like just like a matter of that kind of synergy where they're still trying to ramp it up, or get it to like a level where they're able to take out these engagements with Legion, but I don't know. I'm easily distracted right now by what's happening on the battlefield. So
no, yeah, I totally agree. That card is moving very, very quickly with 11 minutes, 10% left, more like 5% with that final animation. And Legion's actually doing really, really well. They're moving in very nicely, very quickly. In fact, I think one of the Legion Knights got killed, respawned, and ran all the way back to the cart. And there were still Legion members alive on it. So their staying power is really, really good. Considering they have 2 men-at-arms, that's an insane feat to have. And they get it in. And they got 15 minutes, 5 minutes almost more.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like an extra 5 minutes. It was like 10.
I believe it was 10, 20, 10, 30.
10, 20, yeah.
Yeah. About 5 minutes. This is a very, very good lead in terms of time. Let's see if they can keep it up on the sluice. They're making some really good headway on the sluice, at least on A, but on B they got completely stalled, thanks to the firepower that was rallied against them. Alright, Chrysomatic is going to make a run, but not going to get there in time to save his bud. And he's going to go down. I think if Legion makes a really solid group up here and just goes all out for B, because that seems to be what meta is holding on to really hard. They don't even want to take back A at this point. They are just concentrating everything on B.
Yeah.
As a defending team, I don't know that I do that. What do you think, Simon?
Well, I don't know. There's different schools of thought on defense for how to do this. Some people like to do the split. Some seem 1 and 5, 2 and 4, 3. Even 3 and 3. Yeah. I think that if you're gonna hold up on one side, you need a little bit better positioning. It's pretty easy to flood both ramps while having somebody up top. If you put pressure from all sides, it can kind of pull them away from the wheel area, and you can sneak somebody in there. So I think if you're gonna do something like that, you really need to have be mindful of where they can approach and just kind of cover every entry.
I definitely agree with that opinion.
They kind of just, I think, stayed in the same place, which it doesn't work because there's not a whole lot of space to fight. There's not a whole lot of space to move. So mobility.
I would definitely agree. Like if you focus that much on one side as a defender, you are going to be holed up because the attacker just has to smash against you, and it's not like 300 where it's a 300 v a million. It's 6v6, so
yeah, exactly.
You don't have much versatility there. Spook, are you in the game?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic! I'd like to get your opinion on that as well. Actually, I know we're on the final objective already, but not much is happening. What do you think in terms of the sluice? You'd like to see the defender do? Do you like to see the defender split up or focus on a point?
Well, first off, one of their mistakes was stacking all of them right on the site, because then it's for the attackers, it's simply you just have to wipe them, and then you get both sides easily. Because you see out there, there was maybe 2 vanguards that just spawned right when the objective was taken. So you either want to have one person die, 1 or 2 people die really early, so that they'll get the spawns and maybe have a chance to retake or hold it. Or rotate people off and switch sites while they're taking A, just to delay and let your teammates respawn.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely. That's the school of thought that I subscribe to. I think splitting is definitely the more intelligent idea. And, like you said, if everyone's just sitting right on the turnstile, then you're holed up there. You don't have any flexibility, and you're kind of stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, and pushing up, like, you leave a couple of people on the point, and the rest of you guys push up and kind of try to die early and delay and wound them, and just kind of play taking and retaking the sites.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pertinent to mention. Looks like meta is trying to defend against this bit of a push by Legion into C, but meta even gets 2 TKs. Yeah, those 2 TKs totally mess up their defense. And Legion is going to get some hits on C, I believe. No, they're not. They actually are going straight for B, with just 1 man-at-arms going C. Which I think is actually a decent idea. They've got all this time, almost 16 minutes. If they can deal with B and A, then they will be able to put full focus on C. Actually, I kind of want to ask you guys about this too. What do you guys think about strategies for this final objective on Dark Force? Like, do you like to see people go... obviously, going straight for C is kind of a common starting thing, but in terms of the mid-objective plays, like, do you like to see people kind of fake going B or decoy B and then go straight to C? Like, what do you guys see going on, Simon?
Well, as I said earlier, the scramble play of just, if you have an ample amount of time, just sending out and for a few different pushes, sending out in random directions and hitting whatever you can before regrouping and deciding, okay, well, B's got the most damage, C's got the next most, and then A, we'll make a plan for all that. So that's something I like. One of my favorite things is just decoys, distractions, a forest and backside flank, where you come out forest or come out mid, and while somebody drops back behind and attacks C. So there's a lot of, on top of that, just brute force plays of just rushing in, taking an objective, and then going to the next one. They're all I think all equally valid, especially with as much time as there is left. They can try a little bit of everything and see kind of what works there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Spook, what's your opinion?
I really like to see teams split up and take multiple objectives at once, or hit multiple doors at once anyway. Because I find that's really interesting to see how the defenders react to getting multiple doors hit at the same time. Do you stay on C? Do you full force one but leave the other to die? Or it kind of opens up a lot of opportunities for some cool strategies.
Yeah, most definitely. I think both of you are actually putting forth very, very good, pretty similar strategies actually, like the scramble, Simon. That is pretty much akin to splitting up intelligently, going for a point, everyone just takes one, and then waiting for the other team to react, and then reacting based on that reaction.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same for Spook. And that, I would agree, is definitely a very effective strategy. I actually don't see that get used enough, honestly, but it is really, really good as a starting strategy. Like, you send 2 or 3 people at the very beginning of the round just to go straight for C, and then you send the others split for A and B, and you see what the other team does with that.
Well, we used to do it all the time, but then we realized it's hell for, streamers to actually follow all that stuff.
Oh, well, that's so kind of the entirety of the competitive scene, to adhere to such strenuous guidelines. However, seriously, I think it's probably done a bit less because I think in the heat of the moment you're thinking, well, we should go straight for C, that's the hardest point, let's do it now. And they just want to save time. And that makes perfect sense. Like, that's what happens in scrims.
Yeah, it takes a certain discipline to not immediately just say, let's rush C, and, because sometimes it's like, all right, if you have 5 minutes left, take out A and B, at least get 2 of the 3. They're a little bit easier to deal with than it is to just make that, full C push right at the start,
Yeah, actually, I find that kind of funny. Like, at the end of your time, you end up looking at all of the points as one, and then you think, maybe I should go for some of the easier ones just to get progress.
Yeah.
However, you probably should be looking at it that way from the very beginning. You should be thinking, is it pertinent to go for all 3 right now? Should I wait? That's probably just kind of surveying the battlefield and the strategy of your opponent is, and producing a strategy based on that is the best way of doing it.
Absolutely.
So, have we missed anything? Well, A and B have both gone down, much to Meta's chagrin. And it seems C is not far behind. Legion is really putting pedal to the metal, and they are getting a lot of good kills. Popcorn is also getting a good kill for them. Chrisomatic going straight for the door. Not a terrible idea. But they have the numbers here. And, also, actually, a really good individual play by Renatus. He turned around and feinted him. That was really nice. But he goes down. That engagement, I think, could have gone a bit more on Legion's side had Chrisomatic actually not just gone straight for the door, had he helped with the engagement a bit more.
I feel, I feel the same way. But they got 50% on the door.
They did.
And
10 minutes and 30 seconds, hey.
10 minutes and 30 seconds left.
With this much time, I just want to see some catapult meta going on here, okay? That's all I want. I want that to become a thing. Like, I've become very, very, very reliant on catapults in every map that they're in whenever I play in pubs these days. And I wish it would bleed into competitive, but with a 6v6, it's just not as possible, sadly.
Yeah. Generally we only I only use the kata just maybe to open up right in front of the log bridge, or maybe take out one of the outposts to counter a sniper, or excuse me, archer, sniper, you do the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, a fun fact: you actually can destroy the gates with pause. You actually can destroy the gates with the or the caves with the catapults. It just takes 20 hits.
Huh. I did not know that. So the catapult actually does do damage to the
It does
the
if
door.
you can manage to aim it right on the door. It does count as a hit.
I've got a new strategy the next time I'm scrimming on Dark Forest. Maybe. I don't know. But I think that is exactly what I've been seeing, what you just said, like only using the catapult for functional reasons, not really for damage dealing. Because, honestly, in a 6v6, you're a lot more valuable as a melee element rather than a catapult.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just so fun. I can't control myself when I get on a catapult. Just whoosh, double kill. It's fun.
They weren't so slow, and you know.
Yeah. I don't know who it was I was talking to, but I was like sincerely hoping that there would be some kind of engineer class that could put down catapults anywhere. That would be so glorious.
That'd be amazing.
Awesome. If there were kill streaks, I'm pretty sure a catapult would be a kill streak. But I don't want kill streaks. What's going on?
They are asking me for an official time.
Oh, 2:25. You can tell.
2:25 was
I'll
the official
tell 'em.
time?
Yeah, I'm utterly. Oh. Yeah, that was actually the scoreboard time. Do they differ?
The timing is all messed up, and everything. I've seen somebody complete first objective on Dark Forest in 10:23 is what it said on the scoreboard. It was weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's... Whoa. Torn banner, please. Please.
Saying.
Please. Okay. Okay, yep, 222. Yep. Yeah, well, that's just, like, your opinion, man. Yeah, he just sent me a screen cap. I can't show it on the stream.
Yeah, I've got
overlay doesn't
22
work.
on mine as well.
So it is 222. In Photoshop. Whoa, Frisbee. Big drama up in here. Okay, we are getting the unpause.
Alright.
And we're back in the game. 9 minutes and 40 seconds. And it looks like Meta's doing a bit of an offensive push. They're aiming that ballista the wrong direction. But they are going to see Legion's plan. Legion was going to go all out on that left side bridge. Hello, screeching chair. And there's an engagement on the bridge. Christomatic with the TK. Doesn't matter. They are going to take this engagement. But thankfully, actually, that was a really smart idea by Meta to push up like that. Might not have been smart in other occasions. What do you guys think about this objective, being aggressive as the defender, like Spook? Do you usually want to push up more? If C is your last point, do you want to be pushing away from it?
I think it really depends if you know where all of the attackers are, because C is really vulnerable to flanks. You know, you have the forest around the wall. You can go all the way around back spawn, so it's tough to watch every position. But if you know that like you wiped their whole team, they're all going to be coming from spawn, then pushing up is almost like a great idea. You leave one person on the point, everyone pushes up, and then you could take 2 or 3 of them down. And if you all die, then they either have a choice. They can either regroup and get all their forces together for another big push, or keep pushing with wounded and kind of a weaker push when you have full spawns right next to the point. So it's tricky, tricky to fight against that as attackers.
That's a very, very good point, Spook. Do you concur, Simon?
My opinion is if there's an opportunity to safely advance, go for it. Defensive aggression is really like the where it's about. Like even if you don't do, if you don't kill anybody, if you can just delay them, you can do some damage. You can respawn and get back in there and finish the job later. And it really, when it comes down to it, it's all about time. Just however much time you can sap off the other team, and doing, just consistent, aggressive, harassment pushes or clean wipe, pushes like that, that really, shaves off an incredible amount of time. So I'm absolutely in favor of them.
Okay, I like that. Like defensive aggression. That perfectly summarizes what we're seeing. And it all does come down to your knowledge, the information that you've gained. Like, we don't get to talk too much about information in this game. Like, in CSGO, information is everything. If you know they're pushing B, like, they're pushing B, they're at B, you know where they are, that kind of stuff. In this game, normally, as soon as you gain the information, it becomes moot because
irrelevant.
It's changed. Yeah, because you're either dead or they're dead. But that is one piece of information that's very valuable, especially on these long objectives, like knowing where they're coming from, being able to react to that. It's very valuable.
And even if you don't do a lot of damage on those, those pushes, it's still good to act as a forward scout. You can see, okay, well, they've got 5 coming this way. They might split because I rushed them earlier. Maybe they won't, but there's a bunch coming this way. Just be prepared for it, and that way we can kind of better get into position and anticipate what's coming next. So yeah, just even stuff like that. It's all a matter of intel and sharing all that. The more we have that ahead of time, the better we can prepare for what's going to happen once they actually get to where they're going.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it for myself. It's definitely true. Again, that little piece of information, very, very valuable. And now we're seeing something probably going to be the end of the game. Legion is pushing straight up into Meta's face. They got 1 peasant remaining, and they get him. And that is game.
There it is.
They do win. Legion has won the game with 5 minutes and 20 seconds, I think. So a good 3 minutes ahead. Relatively close, actually.
That was actually a lot closer than I anticipated it would be for either side. I was kind of expecting maybe complete on one side and a DNF on this objective on the other. But as it turns out, it's just 3 minutes, difference. That was very good on both teams.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was absolutely stellar